This is a review of the Tao Te Ching, attributed to Lao Tzu. The obvious question, what is the Tao, is already wrong, as the opening verses of the text famously inform us. The way that can be spoken of is not the constant way. The Tao is a way or path, not a thing. It cannot be fully objectified, only poetically inferred. While its subtlety resists direct description, an understanding of the Tao can nevertheless be expressed through metaphor. It is likewise misleading to introduce a Cartesian distinction, foreign to the text's historical context, between interior thinking and exterior bodily activity, and characterize the Tao as a mere action in opposition to thought. However, the Tao is also expressed through its philosophical contemplation, of which the text itself serves as an example. It says, "Without stirring abroad, one can know the whole world. Without looking out of the window, one can see the way of heaven." Also a basis for a George Harrison song, if you recognize it. Thought is also an action, and the Tao is as much a way of thought as of more obviously physical expressions, such as in the martial arts, for example. Along these contemplative lines, how might the poetic thinking of the Tao, as it's expressed in the Tao Te Ching, be understood? The text is in the form of a poem that metaphorically signifies within several registers: philosophical, alchemical, political, metaphysical, ethical, etc., in accord with a hermeneutical horizon or worldview developed by the school or sect of Taoism. The philosophy of Taoism, represented by the anthology of poetic wisdom sayings, maxims, and meditations collected and edited into the text of the Tao Te Ching, is akin to what Martin Heidegger calls a clearing of being. This is a set of holistically interwoven social skills and practices which gather, Heidegger uses the untranslatable German word Ereignis, which gather the horizons of a life world where authentic existence is possible. Conceived in these terms, it is clear why the Tao resists descriptive essentializing and reduction to a single, simple definition, because the Tao exemplifies the attitude of wisdom towards existence as a totality, that's to say Heidegger's being, prior to being broken up into the more particular domains of practical life, yet also illuminating the conduct of these very domains, such as warfare, ethics, and aging. The poetic argument of the Tao Te Ching is dialectical, meaning it uses a negative form of logic. The inevitable occurrence of failure and weakness in life become opportunities instead of obstacles. The sage turns fatality against itself and achieves sovereignty over life by knowing when and how to yield, so that that which opposes them overcomes itself, without the sage seeming to act overtly. The text's manner of expressing these attitudes is linked to an ethic of humility, normative in traditional societies, where honor is accorded those who efface themselves, and those who excessively assert their personal desires are considered wicked. The text says, "One who excels in employing others humbles himself before them." Like the animals that imitate the intemperate are subject to fatality. The text says, "That which goes against the way will come to an early end." This is contrasted with the sage who walks in the way of the Tao, and they find that their virility is at its height, as the text says. These speculations later influenced the somatic alchemical practices of Taoist sects in search of personal immortality. It further follows that the sage who achieves equanimity can, through their charismatic influence, the day of the title, help to bring peace to the world by example. Quote, "I am free from desire, and the people themselves become simple like the uncarved block." Unquote. The text contrasts this option with a very skeptical attitude towards the benefits of warfare, which it also accepts as an inevitable situation facing the feudal agrarian state, to be endured through the humble resignation of duty. The text says, "Thus, of two sides raising arms against each other, it is the one that is sorrow-stricken that wins." Unquote. Indeed, the text of the Tao Te Ching is throughout characterized by a kind of realistic fatalism towards the difficulties of ancient life, as well as the often harsh justice of the ruling class. The sage ruler, quote, is ruthless and treats the people as straw dogs, unquote. Why? Because, quote, heaven and earth are ruthless and treat the myriad creatures as straw dogs, unquote. Feudalism is part of the natural order, no more changeable than the cycle of the seasons. The ruler, therefore, is ruthless. They wield state power. Yet the sage who rules with the Tao does so with the wisdom of the Tao's negative logic, knowing when what appears to be weakness is really strength, and when what appears to be strength is really weakness. And thereby they bring peace to the world through their mysterious influence. All these ideas stand in need of careful hermeneutical sifting to adequately understand their potential relevance to a modern context. How might the philosophy of the Tao Te Ching be applied in the context of late capitalist society, where the feudal agrarian conditions the text assumes are natural have instead passed away?